Great pleasure to meet. I would say the minds behind the organist. Is that true?
Mind's heart, something like that. Yeah, I'd say that's true.
How did it all come about to begin with? Was it a crowd-funded movie? Was it something based on fact? I mean, I have heard of organs being marketed in the past, but never come across a story like this.
Yeah, I mean, like we not entirely based on fact, but there is a black market organ market out there. We just kind of wanted to take a bit of a Melburnian Aussie spin on it. And it kind of came together because we were coming out of COVID. We thought, oh, let's jump into a feature. What do we have access to as filmmakers? And it wasn't much, but it was each other's houses. So we thought, okay, door-to-door salesman, that's a good place to start. And then we thought, how do we take a bit of a cooked approach to that, and also kind of taking a look at the cost of living crisis as well. We thought, what do people have that they're able to give up to afford a mortgage? Just a kidney, maybe 80% of a liver.
Yeah, okay. It's a little bit hardcore if when you think about it. Vegetarians probably shouldn't be watching this. I'm no veggie or vegetarian, but I don't eat a lot of meat. However, there are some scenes in this that might trigger people. Do you think?
I mean, the difference here is that if you look at it, at least some of these organs have been consented to being sold. Animals themselves can't consent to things being taken from them, but the characters here, at least a few of them, without giving too much away, have consented to their organs being sold and distributed. And just a point to your early question of how we went about funding it. There was no crowdfunding. It was entirely funded by ourselves. Sort of no help there. We just thought we would jump in there and write a story that probably wouldn't find pathways to traditional funding. So we thought if we do it ourselves, we can get away with a bit more creative control.
Yeah, well done on that then, because I know how hard it is to fund a movie for, in general, in the Australian film industry. Projects have come and gone because money has dried up. But congratulations on getting it made, getting it done, and getting it out there. It seems to be a film festival darling at the moment.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, no, we're really, really appreciative of what MIF has done for us so far, and then we're super excited to be jumping into SUFF as well next month. Everyone up there have been so supportive, and so yeah, we cannot wait to get up there and see the rest of the program as well. It's looking really good.
Yeah, well, I hope we cross paths because I'm a big supporter of SUFF, always have been, and it seems to be growing every year. So for you to be a part of it, I'm very happy to know that.
Yeah, we're absolutely stoked.
Was it all? I mean, it's a great title. Was it always going to be called The Organist, or did you have other titles in mind?
I think the first time we pitched it, we were like, yep, that's the one. We're good.
Yeah.
We're locked on. The thing people always ask when I describe it to them, initially I would say like, oh, he's an organ salesman, the main character. It would take some time before they realized we're talking about vital organs. They thought we made a film about selling black market organs, which, never say never, but I don't think it would have quite as impactful if it was just going church to church.
Yeah. Well, I think the poster might give it away. It's a pretty cool outline on the poster of what it's about without saying it.
Yeah, pretty blunt there. No,
Yeah.
no room for being subversive. It's there.
With the writing and then some of the characters, it goes pretty heavy-handed on absurdity, but then it can also draw on emotions, like with strangers and compatibility of not just the organs, but just friendship and people in themselves. There's some odd characters here. How did you balance them both to work?
I mean, I think that's where we that's where the comedy comes in. I think as using a little bit of like kind of dry Aussie wit to kind of balance the absolute absurd just characters. Have you got
Yeah,
saying too much cannibals and some other interesting characters playing off kind of Jack's straight man of Graham. I think we did an all right way of balancing it and kind of letting people laugh at the awkward or uncomfortable moments to kind of relieve a bit of the tension there. And then, yeah, I mean, we really wanted to kind of do a bit of a dive into like, is this ethical? Is it morally? It's a bit of a moral gray area. Organ salesman kind of coming in and giving people opportunities that they wouldn't be able to kind of afford otherwise, but then what is he doing with their bodies and what is he doing with the parts of them they're giving up. We kind of want to take a bit of a look at that ethically.
Yeah, well, I wanted to like Graham more, but I found it hard, even though he had like a nice side to him, and he was being put into some weird predicaments. I don't know if I liked him or not. Was I supposed to?
No, I think, if I'm honest with you, a big part of it was leaving that dangling there, that idea of redemption throughout. And I think he's given multiple chances to do the right thing or do something different, and instead he kind of continues to spiral. And I think not liking him is probably a good statement about where you sit ethically. It's probably a good. I'd be kind of concerned if you came across and said, "Oh, I love Graham, flawless guy, good bloke, made a few mistakes." I think being sort of staunchly opposed to him, or at least in that uncanny valley of uncertainty, is probably a good place to sit throughout the film. Yeah.
Well, thanks. I'll take that as a compliment.
No worries.
Well, also someone I was sort of balancing my thoughts on was Tracy. Now, it's Lena Moon. I don't know if I've seen Lena Moon before, but was the camera really friendly towards her because she looked fantastic and also just kept going? It was like, I don't know if she's got stand-up comedy background or not, but had you worked with her before? That was kind of a role that really I took away from after the movie had finished.
Yeah, Lena was absolutely incredible to work with. This was our first time actually working with her. We'd seen her comedy before. She and her comedy partner have had a few shows in Melbourne Comedy International Festival,
Right.
and it was always been great. We've always loved going to see them, and so we kind of reached out to her when we were making this and said, "Hey, any chance you'd want to jump in for this role?" Sent her the script. She seemed to like it enough to say yes. Had a few phone chats with her beforehand, but she kind of came in on the day and absolutely killed it.
Yeah.
We told her at the start, like, we know that she's comfortable with improv, and I was throwing Jack in the deep end saying, you're going to have to bring your A game when it comes to like battling Lena in the improv game. They both killed it, but the real struggle was when I got into the editing room. Each of her scenes maybe ran for 10, 15 minutes for the first cut, because there was so much good stuff, so much like absurd, hilarious, scary, like hitting every emotion. Like, she absolutely was so lucky that she jumped in.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think both show reels for those characters or those actors would be amazing, and it doesn't surprise me that you had to edit it down, because you could have probably just let the camera keep rolling.
And that's what we did. We set the camera up, and I said, okay, like, we've written a script, don't show it any respect, please. Just go for it. Like, we're not precious about anything. And she really went for it, and we came off better for it.
Definitely.
How do you find, like, you just made a point then about showing no respect to the script, but over your experience, some directors and writers are okay with variations of actors just doing it spontaneously. Are you, or do you just encourage it when required?
I think you do have to kind of rein it in every now and again, like depending on the scene, depending on the actor. Like, some actors will would rather kind of take their own look at it and throw a bit of improv in there. And we kind of spoke to the actors before we worked with them, like, how comfortable are you with it? Like, we're happy to stick to the script if that's something you'd prefer. Most of the guys, like, people we got on, were like absolutely game to give it a go. And so we might do a couple takes where we just stick to the script, and then we might just absolutely go for a hit and see how we go. And a few, like Lena in particular, Luke Fisher, who plays Riley, just absolutely, like, you maybe didn't even look at the script. I'm sure they did, but they, like, some of the stuff they were coming up with was great and felt really fresh to us. Like, we obviously working on the script, for a while, not that it was becoming boring or anything, but we just knew it so well that, like, when they did offer something new, we kind of jumped at it. We thought, great, this will add some freshness to the story.
It did from a movie analyst, journalist. I think it did. It helped a lot, as did the cinematography. And I'm assuming I don't know how much the budget actually was, but you got everything you possibly could, indoor and outdoors, and that was noticeable too, cinematically.
Yeah, we didn't have much of a budget at all to work with. And our big thing with making this, because we were self-funding it, sometimes we were just like filming during the day and then both heading to our part-time jobs at night to try and, make sure we have enough money for catering the next day. But what that meant was that, like, once we had signed on some people, some like decent cast members, like we were able to get a good soundy on as well, which had to be as flexible as possible because
Yeah.
everyone's doing it kind of as a favor.
Yeah.
Things pop up, people have jobs, people need to pay rent, people have other gigs that pop up. And so we had to stay really flexible. So then that kind of meant that we had to wear multiple hats. So yeah, it's, doing the catering ourselves. I directed and shot it. And it just meant that we were able to kind of, stay as flexible as possible. We didn't have like a gaffer on, so it was kind of like using minimal lights, using natural light wherever we could. So if that meant, we'll do a few hours in the morning when the sun rises, take a big break or move inside and then go back outside when the sun's setting, like that just had to happen. Yeah.
How do you find, like, I do a lot of film festivals, different states. I didn't make it to MIFF this year, but I'll be at Adelaide, and there's Brisbane and Sydney, of course, and even Cinefest in Perth. Every audience is different. How do you think Melbourne, say Victorian-based movies, maybe are more accepted in Victoria than other states, localization, or do you not see it that way? Because I know audiences can react in different states about different films.
Look, it's only been at Melbourne so far, and I think there's definitely some undertones of Melbourne humor, very specific jokes, which I'm very curious to see is going to land in Sydney, is going to land wherever else it leads. Excepting, I think there's a critical lens that Melburnians look through, but there's also, they get around the humor. So I think they've been tougher on the dramatic aspects, but they've been really engaged with the absurdity, the comedy. We talked about Lena's HR. I think everyone can relate to that kind of character in their life. And I think that's going to be a national level. I think we've all dealt with someone at their workplace who's, a bit chaotic. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think Sydney's going to be friendly. I think I've got good vibes for Sydney, which is a welcome change. How I normally view them. Originally from Brisbane, so I've got sort of you understand. There's some tension there, but I suspect, especially like the Underground Film Festival, I think they'll be in for a good time.
No, I think so too. There's already a bit of hype about it. Like I said, it seems to be growing each year. A lot of advertising, and your movie's sitting at the top of the bunch for many people I've spoken to that want to go and want to see films. So your box is ticked.
So good to hear.
Yeah, it's nice.
There's a bit of feedback for you.
Thanks.
So you kind of just said then in that answer that you depending on where it goes, like how far do you want this to go to keep going and showing internationally, of course, or have you got bigger plans, maybe as a special edition physical media version of it? What can we look forward to once it's done the rounds at film festivals?
I mean, that'd be great. I mean, we're still kind of this being our first feature, we're learning so much about what to actually do with a feature after you've made it. And so in coming off the back of MIFF, we've started, having a chat to, some distributors and stuff. So we'll see if anything comes of it. But we're just super excited. Like ideally we'd love to get it out there. We'd love to get it. I'd love to get a Blu-ray of it at home, but getting an international release would be so insane.
I'd love to see how those audiences engage with it. Like, will it make sense to them? Will they get the Australian, the colloquialism?
I can't imagine it would. Yeah, it'd be so interesting. It'd be really interesting to see what different nationalities and different audiences would kind of respond if they would respond at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of our movies can go well in that film festival arena overseas and Europe in particular. So yeah, good luck. I've got high ambitions for you both.
Cheers.
Thank you.
So to wrap it up, basically, what is your opinion? People listening or seeing this are about to go to SUFF and check it out without, spoiler free. Can you just give them a bit of a description what they're going to experience?
Yeah, I'll go for it. I think it's a fun, dark comedy. I think you're going to come in with some insane situations. You may not get all the blood and gore you expect. If you're a big horror fan, maybe that's not going to satisfy you, but we've got a little bit in there to sort of keep you on your toes by the end. I think it's just a very fun, chaotic movie. And although there's like some really difficult and like ethical situations, I think there is, you can see how much fun we had making this film, and we made it for scraps. And we're just so excited. We're pumped that anyone is going to come and see it. Like we had no expectation of it being here. So anything good that happens, we're like, that's mad. And I think you'll kind of feel that spirit as you watch it. If you watch it in good faith, I think you'll have a really good time.
You're going to keep on working together? Have you got more projects coming up?
We do, yeah. Unfortunately, we are, sort of codependent at this stage. There's no escaping sort of what we have now. We've got a few more feature ideas we're just kind of working on at the moment, and hopefully, with having a lot more experience now, we'll be better.
We know what to do. We know we've made all the mistakes that we needed to make. So hopefully next time we can make marginally less mistakes.
Just a couple less.
Just a couple less would be great. And then we'll see how it goes. But no, we're super excited to just jump back into it. We just love doing this. It's too much fun.
Yeah, well, I can tell that just bouncing off each other right there, looking at you got good friendship as well as a partnership, and I think that's what people need when it comes to our film industry, a real connection.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks.
And Lou says hello, Louise child. She's a friend of mine.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. Yeah,
she had the briefest of cameos. I spotted her. Was there any any thinking of using her a bit more, or not really, just a cameo?
She was we met her through one of the other story writers and co-stars, George Goldfeder, who he was in Beauty and the Geek back in the day, and I think they met through the influencing kind of scene.
Right.
And so I think we got into Louise pretty late in the game, but we were stoked that she was able to jump in, even for the small role that she was able to. She was so much fun to have on set, and then she's been super supportive of us.
Great.
Yeah, no, I think she still is. So she made sure I said hi to you from her.
Yeah, nice. That's great.
and finally, what about what people shouldn't be eating before they go and watch your movie? No big baked dinners or anything, just a light meal.
Maybe don't fill up on too much steak beforehand, I'd say.
Yeah, maybe plant-based for this one.
Yeah.
And maybe plant-based after as well.
Just, very well done anything you're going to be eating.
Thank you very much.